how do you build a culture, or how do you build a team culture that allows the team to continuously, innovate and keep creating impact, right? So so it's not just about getting like really smart people or having really smart people in the team, right? It's also about getting them to work together and having a culture where you actually innovate faster and do that. So based on your experience, what is the difference between a great team, not a great team?
So most important thing is that everybody feels welcome in the team and that everybody kind of understands each other. So therefore it's important when you're like doing team building that it's team building that everybody feels comfortable with doing and is closer to what everybody loves doing, because it depends on the type of like people that you're working with, that they like to do other things. For example, if you have more introvert people, letting them do something with improvisation might not be something that they like a
Yeah,
lot. They, for
yeah,
example, might enjoy more doing like a puzzle or like maybe making something of art together, but it's more important that there are things that are coming through like the group itself. On top of that, it's also important that people know that they always can come to you when they have questions. So therefore, it's important to have like the rituals like daily stand-up, like weekly planning meetings, make sure that you, when there's code that needs to be reviewed, that these diff reviews are not like sitting too long, and that when people have questions, they know that they can come to you. It's also important that they know that you're also there to help them out with the harder problems, so that it's not that you let other people sit on harder problems, but when there's something really hard that needs to be debugged, that you can actually help out with that. And on top of that, it's also important that people can actually learn a lot and that they have time to learn. So the way how you can do that is make sure that each week there is like some time available for everybody to learn. So what I did, for example, at one company was actually taking a few hours each Friday afternoon where we would come together in a meeting room and would be watching some online courses related to machine learning and deep learning. And then afterwards also still do some discussions related to the videos that we were seeing. The benefit of this is that people don't have the feeling that they need to spend their evenings or their weekends
yeah,
doing these
right.
courses. I have also done that actually in a similar way to learn Kubernetes, because I needed to use
Yeah,
Kubernetes in production. Then I watched this actually with a few tech leads to understand how it worked.
okay.
What I've done in the past also is like bi-weekly journal club, so paper club, so let people read a paper, discuss it. And another thing which is also important is organizing like diff review clubs. So basically each week or each other week come together, look at some diffs, look what is happening most, and explain it, say whether something is good or whether something is can be improved. Most important thing to actually look a lot at code is because that's the places where you actually see innovation happening.
Right,
Because
right,
if there's a new framework, you have always people who want to try out something new. And in
right.
that way, you can just learn more about it. And on top of it, also, if you're building out a new product, do your due diligence first, that you really understand what has been built in the past, what has been tried in the
Hmm.
past, so that you can actually stand on the shoulders of giants. Don't need to innovate everything.
Hmm.
Check whether it's useful to use new technologies, but not try to use new technologies to use new technologies, because the last thing you want is get your company going for like immigration or learning something new, and then after a few months notice that is actually not that useful, and then you
Right,
get stuck into a migration where half of the code might be on something old, the rest on
right.
something new, and then in a few months you still might be getting something new again, and then it's just really hard for people to kind of use things.
Yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. So basically, have a culture of
Yeah,
feedback over code, right? Have
exactly.
some regular time for the team can actually sit together do some
Yeah,
learning activity, right? Whether it's reading paper or going through a course, right? And I think one which I agree fundamentally is uh, having the psychological safety, right? It's okay
exactly.
to make mistakes and basically try things out, right? And
Exactly.
you do this in practice. So, a lot of people talk about it in theory, but you do this in practice for a sustained period of time. You actually end up building a really great culture, right? The same members probably might not be performing so great, whatever, but in the right
Yeah,
setup, you just basically crush through it. Yeah, yeah, great, great.
exactly.
Uh,